Okay, if we compound $10,000 at 6% annual interest, compounded quarterly, we want to get an expression, or actually calculate the principal after T years. Well, we want to get an expression for the principal after T years. So we want to try to build that expression. Now, what does it mean to compound at 6% compounded quarterly? That means we compound 4 times a year. So that means we earn not 6% 4 times a year, we earn 1/4 of 6% 4 times a year. Okay? Now, then the question is, okay, the first time we compound that money, okay, we have our $10,000, we compound it once, getting what? 1/4 of our 6% interest. Okay, well, how much do we get? Well, we get 1/4 of 6% of our principal. That means 1/4 of 6%, that's 1.5% of our principal is, and our principal is $10,000. So we get 1.5% of $10,000. Now, 1.5% we know is 0.015, so we're going to multiply 0.015 by $10,000. We're going to get $150. Okay, well, that's good. After the first compounding, then how much will we have? Well, we get $150, but nobody takes away our $10,000. We get to keep it. So we're going to have $10,000 plus $150, or $10,150. Now, as we've seen, okay, recently, adding, see, I left a T off of multiplying there. I don't have my green chalk, but I'll fix it as best I can. Okay, as we've seen, adding 1.5% is the same as multiplying by 1.015. So we have an alternative calculation for how much we're going to have. It doesn't tell us how much interest we're going to get, and we might be, we might want to know that. But at least we could calculate how much we're going to have, which is what's really important, right? So we multiply 1.015 by our $10,000, and we get $10,150, which is the same thing we got when we calculated our interest separately and added it. And we've seen previously why that works. Okay, so you might need to review that. Okay, well then, the question is, how much after our second compounding? Okay? Well, we're going to get another 1.5%, right? And it's not going to be 1.5% of the $10,000, because now we have $10,150. So when we add the next 1.5%, we're adding it to slightly more money, and we're going to get slightly more interest than we would have if we just based everything on the $10,000. Okay, so then this is the advantage of compound interest. So our principal is $10,150. So we get 0.015 times that, $152.25. And now we have this plus this or this. That's our new principal. But our alternative calculation is to multiply 1.015 by our $10,150. And we get the same exact result that we got by calculating the interest separately. So we're not going to calculate the interest separately anymore. We're just going to use this multiplication by 1.015. And I was looking for it a minute ago and didn't see it, but it's right here in front of me. Explanation, and again, to repeat the explanation of why that works. 1.015 times your principal is, well, 1.015 is the same as 1 plus 0.015, right? So that's 1 plus 0.015 times your principal. And 1 plus 0.015 times your principal, by the distributive law, is 1 times your principal, there, plus 0.015 times your principal, there. And what's that? Well, 1 times your principal is your principal. 0.015 times your principal, well, that's how we calculate the interest. So that 1.015 times your principal is just going to equal your principal plus your interest. Okay, well, when we compounded once we had 1.015 times $10,000 then, right? If we compound it again, we have 1.015 multiplied by what we had after we did this, which means we have 1.015 times 1.015 times $10,000. Okay? If we compound again, what do we have? Well, this is where I asked the class, and people had a little trouble writing it out. A lot of people wrote it out okay. Some people still didn't quite have it. So we want to be sure we have this. Okay? Well, it's going to be 1.015 times what we had before, which is 1.015 times this. So it's 1.015 multiplied by 1.015 times 1.015 times $10,000. Okay? 1.015 times this is 1.015 times this, since this is the same as this. Okay, that's a principal after 3 compoundings. So what about 8 compoundings? Now, let's just jump a little bit. 8 compoundings. Well, clearly we're going to have to keep multiplying by 1.015. We're going to have to do that 8 times. So we're going to have 1.015 times 1.015, got a little smudge, times 1.015, Okay, 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, then times the $10,000. Now, at this point, people did pretty well with this, okay, because of course we did it before, but people retained it well, and I think got the idea. And this is nothing then, but if you multiply something by itself 8 times, it's that number to the 8th power. So it's 1.015 to the 8th times $10,000. So now, if you wanted to find how much you would have after 50 compoundings, you just do 1.08 to the 50th times $10,000, and you would have it. Now, we still aren't up to the idea, or aren't up to getting our answer to the original question, what's our principal after T years, but we're making some pretty good progress, so we need to move on.